Okay, so today we're talking about balance. I don't know how many times we're going through our top tier SFMA. We get to the single leg balance test where we go eyes open for 10 seconds, hopefully eyes closed for 10 seconds. And inevitably somebody's like, oh, it's so much harder with my eyes closed. Or can I try that again? And we're not trying to pass the test, we're just trying to get a brief glimpse of what's actually going on. But what we want to try to explain to people is sometimes people come into my office and they may have been working on some really fancy balance drills on like a Bosu ball, or maybe like four chairs stacked on top of a small child, and like trying to do all this stuff because that surely will improve their balance. Well, first of all, we got to think about what is balance. So balance is the integration of really three things. We try to be very simplistic about it. It's input from your visual system, your inner ear, and then feedback from skin, joint, soft tissue, or mechanoreception, proprioception. Then my ability to integrate all three of those mainly in my cerebellum is where I'm going to now have the ability to take all that input and create output or movement. So when we do this single leg balance test and we take away your eyes, what are we doing? We're taking away one input system. It's fairly hard to take away input from your inner ear. We can move the head around and kind of mess with the inner ear, the vestibular apparatus a little bit. But what we can also do is we can strip away joints to try to say, well, hey, I know when we stand on one leg, we take away your eyes. It's not so great. Let's see if that has something to do with input from your ankle, from your hip. And if you want to know about that, look at SFMA. What we want to talk about today is how do we actually start to improve balance? In my opinion, I wouldn't go ahead and put somebody on an AirX pad that can't stand on one leg, especially with eyes open, for 5 seconds. It makes no sense to make something harder that's already hard. So what we're trying to find is the best thing they can do well that challenges them a little bit. So what would we want to do with somebody that, let's say they can stand on one leg, eyes open, like a champ. As soon as we close, tends to go a little haywire. Well, first of all, we have to do what I said before, break down and see what's going on. Is it kind of a feedback thing? Is it a visual thing? Is it inner ear? Is it a specific joint that has kind of a proprioceptive deficit? And for all my research nerds out there, let's get real close to the camera. I realize that we could debate about proprioception all day long. Let's just snuff that for right now. So what I would do is I would try to challenge the other input systems once I've ruled out that it's nothing proprioceptive, mechanoreceptive from any joint. So let's say I take somebody down into this half kneeling closed stance. They come up here, they can balance like a champ, they can balance with like a champ, eyes closed. Now what we want to do is start at a low level and start to challenge that visual and inner ear system. And really the best way to do that is if I pick the camera as my target, I may tell somebody, hey, get your feet in as narrow a stance as you can where you're extremely stable. So even here, I feel like I've got a little sway. So I may come out like this. I'm going to pick a target and then I'm going to simply say, staying tall, let's start rotating your head back and forth, but you have to keep your eyes fixed on the target. And there I go, right? You wouldn't believe how many people just start to get a little off balance when we start to move your visual system, move your inner ear, but then what am I also doing? Moving a joint. So I could get on these fancy Bosu balls and AirX pads, or I could simply move a joint, my eyes, and my inner ear and be challenging the things that actually are needed for balance, and then I have to learn how to integrate those things. So let's say I am a baseball player and I have to swing a bat fairly fast. You would say, well, that's not a huge balance thing, right? I got 2 feet on the ground, I'm pretty stable, I'm in a squat position, I'm athletic. Well, when I start creating rotation, whether it's baseball, golf, doesn't matter, that rotation requires a lot of feedback, in particular from my visual and vestibular system, to make sure that my body is not going to put on the restrictor plates or get stiff or respond to where it doesn't allow me to do what I need to do. And if you're a golfer and you've ever calculated your swing speed and you've done some overspeed training or tried to swing the other way, you'll know that you can only swing as fast as you can slow down. And I would postulate that most of that has to do with balance. So here's my tip for the day. Don't get rid of your rocker board that you're standing on at your office. Don't get rid of your AirX pad. Bosu ball, maybe put it in the corner, maybe for good. That's up to you. But challenge what's actually going on. But first of all, find out what's going on. So strip down the system, right? Do I have to wear glasses? Do I have some known inner ear vertigo, Meniere's, even a blown eardrum from prior, incidents? Or do I have some injury that's led to a feedback issue, right? Chronic ankle sprains, a joint replacement would be a big one. Now I don't have a good feedback system there. And then from there, now I can be more specific and actually work on balance instead of just practicing poor balance. See you guys. Skate up, and we want to think about creating space. Elbow sit. Lay down. This little foot, and we think of a bunion having a little kick.